You can't hear her? I can't hear her either.
And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network. And tonight, of course, live on YouTube as well. And we'll talk about this a couple of times during the show. But just right off the top, if you want to watch us live, you go to YouTube and you just type in Highlander Activity Network or Highliners Activities, and that'll take you to our page. You can watch us live on YouTube. Now, if you're familiar with the show, we call it Coach's Corner, and usually we're talking coaches, but we like to encompass all activities at Valley City High School and Valley City Public Schools. We'll be talking speech, we'll be talking play, choir tonight. We're going to be talking band. Rebecca Elliott joining us, the band director for Valley City. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it. And at the end of the show, I'll ask you how you think the Blackhawks will do this year, but that's another story altogether.
That'll be a quick conversation.
It'll be done, one and done. Our first band concert, I believe, of the year.
Yes.
Coming up here tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. This is our first ever October concert that we've had here. We don't normally have a fall concert, but it's a unique situation. The Red River Valley Veteran Community Band, which is based out of Fargo, has reached out to me like 3 times asking to do a combined concert here in Valley City. And the 3rd time we finally were able to make it work. So they are traveling around on their little performance tour, and they're stopping here. They're first having a concert, just them, at 6:30 p.m. at the Care Center. When they're done there, they're going to race over here and join us for an 8 o'clock concert. The senior band, my 11th and 12th graders, are going to start the concert and play a little bit. Then the rest of the time will be for the Red River Valley Community Band. And then we're finishing with a combined piece. So we'll all play together. We'll have about 90 musicians out there playing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
So who's going to be directing the 90 musicians? Co-directing?
Oh, not me. I'm going to let...
Or are you going to be part of it?
I'm going to let Mr. Keith Wander do that. Mr. Keith is a retired band director. He worked in Holly, Minnesota. He was the band director in Holly for many, many years.
Yep.
This is his first year directing the band. So I said, hey, you have at it. You go ahead and do that combined piece. It'll be good for the my students to have that experience with another director too.
I have many cousins that played for him. That went to Holly High School.
Yeah.
So
Tremendous program.
So I'm gonna put out on Facebook to all my cousins, hey,
yep.
Mr. Wander's going to be on the Highland Activity Network tomorrow, so come watch and join us. But that'll be fun for your students, like you said, getting to see professionals, if you will, doing this.
For sure, and just seeing people later in life still able to make music and have fun and make good music. It's really cool to see that. The concert is free and open to the public, like all of ours. They'll have their own little program. I don't know what they're playing. It'll just be a surprise. But we're playing 2 pieces. One is called Arabian Dances. It's really fun. It has they call it the Aladdin song. It has a lot of Aladdin feels in it. And then we're playing another piece called Moscow 1941. That it's more of a worldly piece. It was written about in World War II, based on when the Soviet Union was able to push the Germans back on that December 4th day that kind of secured that. And so that piece actually has been really fun to talk to the kids about, how things in the world can change a lot, and how at that time the Soviet Union was in a completely different position than they are right now.
Right.
And so getting to have that real world talk too in the classroom has been really, I've enjoyed it, having to have that cultural events, real life events in the classroom too. So we're excited. It's going to be really fun. Free, open to the public, 8 p.m.
Okay.
Good
Now,
deal.
you said they'll be at the Care Center first, and then they'll come over here and join you for that 8 o'clock concert. So that'll be here again. As she said, open to the public. We'll have it on the Highlander TV network, so you can be able to watch it live as well if you can't make it. But really, come out. I mean, this is
Yes.
really, you can watch concerts. I don't care what the music is, who the performer is. You can watch them on YouTube or what, but you got to experience it in person.
Live music is always just better. Live concerts, even all of them. All of them.
And you said the first fall concerts. It'll be something new for
Yeah,
folks.
it is new. It is new. And I'd love to, I'm sure this will go amazing, but I'd love to have kind of a similar thing where we bring other groups in to play. I love the idea of having fall concerts because, I don't know, it's a good time.
And there's no school on Friday, so come on out. You have
Yeah,
no
you
reason
could
to get
stay
home
up
and get
late.
to bed.
You could stay up late.
And all speaking of concerts, unfortunately, Mother Nature took care of Homecoming.
Yes.
Your performance at halftime, but you have done it. You've recorded it. How can folks watch this?
Yes, so just last Tuesday when it was a wonderful 30 degrees outside, we ran up to the field and we recorded and live streamed our field show. We made a couple edits because we hadn't done it since homecoming week. And so now that recording has been posted, to my knowledge, on the YouTube channel. And I think it's called VCHS Marching Band Field Show 2022. So you can go ahead and watch it right there. Yeah, I'm just really glad they got a chance to actually perform it. That's what we spend the whole that's all we do for the first month of school is get ready for homecoming, both the parade and the field show, and a lot of walks to and from the field go into that. So I don't know. I'm really glad they got to do it, and it wasn't that cold.
Well, I know when I arrived at the football field on homecoming night, you guys were rehearsing. You're on the field. You were going to give it a go, but really instruments don't do well in wet.
No, and that was a really wet day.
It was.
It had rained pretty much the whole time during the parade, so the instruments were already really wet to begin with, it's not good. We can do most other things, but like rain is really, really bad for them. And so when the rain just did not stop, I had to call it because it just wasn't going to work. And yeah,
It's a tough decision, but had to be done.
it did. Yeah.
But at least nowadays you have these venues where you could record it and
Right.
put it out there on the World Wide
Right.
Web, and people can still watch it.
Yeah, and we had an audience. We invited some classes from Jefferson, and so we had some really excited first graders out there and some parents. So they still got to perform for an audience. It was just a different audience than normal. And again, I'm just glad we got to do it and complete that chapter.
And
And
that'll
move on
be
to the
live
next.
on YouTube, or it's on YouTube.
Yep.
So they can go Highliner Marching Band Field Performance. 2022.
VCHS. Yep, VCHS Marching Band Field Show.
Okay.
That should find it.
Okay. Well, get out there, watch it, and I had my script of what everything I was supposed to
I
say. I'm
know,
surprised you didn't
yes.
call me and say, "Hey, can you do this?"
I didn't even think of it until I was like out there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we don't have any of the narration.
You don't have the
so
intro.
What do we do?"
Oh, well, that's
Uh,
okay.
But yeah, it worked out.
It's about the music.
It is, and there's some good songs in there. So
All right. Well, that was the Homecoming Field show. But again, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock concert here at the Hack.
Yep,
And the Red River Community Band.
they got a long name: Red River Valley Veteran Community Band, RRVVCB. Yep,
That is a long name.
it is.
But if you don't get a chance to catch them at the Care Center, 8 o'clock here, they will kick off the show, or you kick it off
We'll
with
start
your two
it.
songs.
Yep, our kiddos, the 11th and 12th graders, will start it,
Okay.
and then we'll pass it off to them, and then we'll end with a combined piece.
Oh, I can't wait. I want to see what that combined piece is. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you should, because they probably had to
Yes.
rehearse it.
Yes, yep. It's called Flying Fortress. It's this really fun, fast-paced, quick little song. Very powerful. Lots of big brass moments, which everyone loves big brass moments.
Yep.
But yeah, it's really fun.
Well, Rebecca, I appreciate you joining us here tonight, getting us ready for the concert tomorrow. Now, I'm assuming, and don't anybody get mad at me, but you're probably going to get ready to start doing your Christmas concert, too.
We kind of already did. The other groups have already started their music. I've had people poke their head in and say, it's October, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, can't stop us. We gotta prepare. So now senior band's gonna play a little catch up and start their Christmas music on Monday,
All right.
right in time for Halloween.
Perfect.
Right.
That's when Christmas music is supposed to start, Halloween.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Rebecca, again, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
That is Rebecca Elliott, the band director for Valley City Public Schools. And again, that concert with the Red River Valley Veterans Community Band.
Nailed it.
Yes, that'll be tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right here at the Hack. And again, they will be kicking it off with the high school. The 11th and 12th graders will go first, get a couple of pieces in, and then the big band, and then the two will join in for one big. That was interesting. One big song at the end of the night. We'll be back. We've got football coming up here. We're going to be talking Highlander football. That's on the way. This is Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network. The Highlander Activity Network here live on YouTube tonight, and we appreciate you joining us for Coach's Corner. And now we're going to get into football. And before we get to head coach Scott Roark, joined by one of the Highliners, Brod Muskie, joining us. How you doing?
Good.
Staying out of trouble, I hope.
I am.
You're getting ready to go. Coach, I was going to call you Coach. Before we get to Friday night's opponent, Broden, we'll just step back to the Central game. A loss, yes, a double overtime loss, but that was a hard-fought game for you guys. Just your thoughts on Friday night.
I feel like we came out flat-footed to begin with, and they kind of took advantage of that right away. But then we found ways to battle back, and coming out of the locker room, second half, we figured out a way to get back in the game.
That's something this team has done, too, a couple of times. That other team maybe scores first or ties it up, but you find a way to just change the momentum, I guess is how I want to say it. But now you're on the offensive line, also play defense. We'll talk about the offensive line first. The way you guys have played this year, do you feel it as a unit that you're having a solid year?
Yeah, I feel like what we got going, we got something good. It's working really well. One thing our coach always says is a man being blocked is a man that can't make the tackle. So we've really focused on just sticking on a man and just driving him back as far as we can.
And having guys like Sikora with Zach and Ethan and Gavin that are pretty quick, you probably don't have to hold a block too long, do
No,
you?
Not really. No, they're usually by us pretty fast.
And it's just like, oh, there he goes. Okay, I guess I can let go of this
Yeah.
guy now. But is there pride that you guys take in? You see the stats and see how these guys are running up and down the field. Do you say, hey, we got a part in that?
Yeah.
And it's something you kind of talk about as a unit, or at least think about as a unit?
Yeah. We just think, their success is some of our success, That's about it. We just do our job, and it helps them.
And it helps. And if you're doing your job
Yeah.
and they do theirs, everybody's happy.
Yep.
Defensively, I know we've talked about this. I've talked about this with Coach Roark before. The defense really has played, has had a strong year, a great year defensively. What do you attribute that to? Is why the defense has been playing as well as they have?
I think everyone's just doing their jobs. The D line is kind of like a gap control. So if they maintain their gaps and us middle linebackers contain our gaps on the inside, and then you got outside backers, everyone's just doing their jobs, and that's really helped. No one's really flying, taking other gaps. Everyone's just focusing on what they got to do, and then when the ball is there, they see it, they make the tackle.
When you get up and ready to make a tackle and making a tackle, does any of your wrestling instincts take hold?
There's been a couple times where I've kind of gotten in on a double leg, and it's like, whoa.
Don't try to fireman scary or
No.
anything like that. Just go double leg.
Yep.
Because really, you think about it, footwork is relatively same, but it's mono and mono when you're doing that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you just got to go in there and just say, that guy's not going any further once he gets to 51. He's stopping here.
Yep. Usually if you can get their legs, then it stops them. So.
And if you can't bring them down right away, you've got guys coming to help out.
Yep.
I see a lot of gang tackling. Is that
Yes.
something you guys work on too?
Yeah, we haven't repped it as much lately, but I know right away we repped it every day. We worked on pursuit and everybody just flying to the ball.
After Friday night, you came back into work, if you will, practice on Monday. It's like, okay, forget about that. We got South coming up. So now you guys were refocused after Friday night.
Yep. One thing we focus, even after every game, even after a win, is going into the week 0-0. We move on, and by the end of the week, we want to be 1-0.
Because I think I mentioned it to Coach Roark, the most important game is the next game.
Yes.
And now we got Friday night. That's the next game. What do you know that you've seen and know about Fargo South?
They're a good football team. They've lost some games, but they've been to the bigger schools up in a class above us. So, we just got to come out, and we got to be ready right away. We can't come out flat-footed. It should help having our home field advantage, but we still got to play our game and just do what we've been doing all year.
So basically not worrying about what South has. If you do what you guys can do, the final score will take care of itself.
Yes.
All right. Well, Broden, I appreciate you stopping by. It's been fun
Thank
so
you.
far. We've got a few more games to go, I hope.
Yes.
But we'll definitely, at least one more will start here on Friday night. And it could be nice weather. So how about you? Do you like, you played in rain, you played in wind, you played in some sunshine. What do you like to play in?
I don't like the rain just because it gets wet and cold. But if it's too hot, I don't like that. About this is about perfect. It's not too hot, not too cold. So it's nice.
Good fall weather.
Yes.
All right. Well, Broden, again, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
You bet. Number 51 on the lineup, that is Broden Muskie from the Valley City Highlanders. We'll be back with Coach Scott Roark on the way. It is Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on the Highline Activity Network, and again on YouTube. And tell all of your friends and relatives live on YouTube now. Just go to YouTube and search Highline Activity Network or Highline Activities, and you'll be able to watch Coach's Corner and all of our events that we have live on YouTube. Now, joined by head coach Scott Roark from the Highliners. How you doing?
Doing just fine, thanks, Paul.
It's a good week of practice so far.
Yeah, weather's been kind of funny. Yesterday, the kids were out in sweatshirts and sweatpants, and today they were, in shorts and stuff. So it was fun. Yeah.
You got back to work on Monday. Just your thoughts too, going back to Friday night. You knew you were going to face a good Central team, and at home at Grand Forks Central. Your thoughts on Friday?
Well, it wasn't our best game as far as execution. I think we talked a little bit after the game about all of us kind of owning part of it, us coaches as well, and preparation and play calling and maybe situational things that we could have done a better job of, and certainly execution, and not getting into the finger pointing business, because that's the last thing that we need to be doing right now. And I told the kids too, I said, if I would have told you we'd be 7-1 after 8 games, would you take it? And I'm guessing most of you, if you're honest with me, would say yes, we'd take that. Well, you just happen to have the one tonight, and if it was the first game and we were winning 7 in a row, it'd be a completely different feel. So being able to kind of just be level-headed about the situation, I give Grand Forks Central a lot of credit. They played a very good football game. They made plays, timely plays when they needed. We couldn't get off the field on third down, and that hurt us. And we're usually pretty good at getting off the field. And they had a scheme that we kind of hadn't repped enough for, and they hurt us on third down. I think probably 3-4 times on that thing. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's never fun. I think losing games like that, and hopefully we'll, as a group unit, coaches included, learn from it if we ever get into that situation again. Especially, sometimes that over time, you're either there sometimes or you're not there. It's been a while since I've been in overtime games,
right.
And we've won some, we've lost some, and they're all a little bit different. And it's hard sometimes to prepare for that because you're just not really expecting it, and that's on us as not being maybe ready to handle some of that situation too. And so we'll be prepared next time.
Well, I think that was it. The fourth quarter touchdown drive was 11 minutes, just about. You scored 34 seconds into the quarter to go up 15-9, and then they had it literally the rest of the quarter.
Yeah, and that's usually our game.
Yeah,
and
they beat you at your own game.
Yeah, and this just didn't expect that. And that, again, that kind of goes back to those third downs. We had them in third and longs, and we let them off the hook. So, hopefully we'll get better at that too.
Ironically, last week we're talking about the kicking game, and you got a kicker that you can send out there. And as a sophomore, to even have the ice water in your veins, that old saying, to go out there and kick 3 field goals that meant something, that were big, tying the game or giving you the lead, that has to say something about the mental makeup.
Well, I just didn't have a lot of options before, and maybe it would have made the decision-making a lot easier.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Yeah.
And so that's where there's no question, because, we get on the bus, and even during the game you wonder if you made the right choice, and it's kind of one of those, you sit there and watch somebody else make those choices. You say, boy, I sure wouldn't like to make that decision, because if you go this way and it don't work, you're making the wrong decision. If it goes this way, and, it's so we'll make sure we are where we need to be next time.
Watching the game, I'm thinking, Coach, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes right now having to come up with that. And even you look at starting of overtime where you get the choice. You want to go on offense first, go on defense first. And I was talking about it with family over the weekend, and I said, some coaches say, I'd rather go on defense first, and then you know what you got to get.
Yep.
But really, it's a coin flip, no pun intended. But it's a coin flip as far as, do you take it first or either way?
Well, I believe we won the toss and we went on defense. I want to know what we need to get, and so I think we made the right decision that way. But
Yeah,
well,
it is what it is.
everybody knows the rest of the story.
Yes, they do, and they also I'm going to bring it up because it's my job as a brought to bring it up. The penalties, untimely would be a word that just seemed like they came at the wrong, and really both teams in the penalty situation. But it seemed like when we got penalties, it just came at inopportune times.
And I think sometimes it's the type of penalty.
Yeah.
A 5-yard penalty versus a 15-yard penalty, or a third down penalty. Yeah, we didn't help ourselves, and we got a penalty in overtime.
Yeah.
And that really makes it tough, especially when you only got a couple downs and you got to figure out something. So, yeah, I don't know what to say on that. It's I feel like it's a fine line to work with on kids. You can talk to them about it, and I suppose you can pull kids out of the game. That's not always easy, but you do need kids to play aggressively to be successful at the game. And if the penalties can be avoided, those are the ones that this can be avoided. If they can be avoided, then we have to try to avoid them. I get that stuff happens, but boy, you want to take care of the things you have control of, and I really believe that. And I told the kids this a lot of the games that we played this year. We're the only team that's beating us right now, and where do you want to go from here?
Exactly.
So,
and I know on the flip side, there was one penalty that helped us on them. I think it was a pass interference penalty on one of our touchdown drives that helped set us up in good spots. It went both ways.
Yeah. Being an official is very difficult.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do it.
It's a very difficult job because I think if it's like most people talk about NFL football, when you could throw a penalty every play, none of us would like to watch that game.
No.
So, hopefully it gets done in the right spirit of the game where advantage doesn't get taken, because I think a lot of times that's where you decide, is the penalty worth throwing right now? Did somebody gain an advantage on it? If yes, then you should throw the flag. If no, then it probably, But anyway, I'm talking philosophical things.
Right.
Of course, I'm not doing somebody else's job right now either. So,
exactly.
And I don't want to do that. So,
no. And I wouldn't either. That's a thankless job being official in any sport. I don't care what sport it is. Now this week, getting prepared for the Fargo South Bruins coming in. What do you know about the Bruins?
Very athletic. Their skill positions on offense, I don't think we've seen a skill set, like that yet. So our secondary is certainly going to be tested. We're going to have to find a way to get some pressure on quarterback. We struggled with that against Central, and somehow we've been very good against the run, but sometimes that doesn't always translate into a pass rush, just because of the type of bodies you put in there sometimes. And I think, one of the things that happened with Central that slowed our pass rush down is they had such a good screen game that we were so conscious of. I think maybe our defensive linemen were too conscious of it, and we're afraid that they're going to run a screen. Well, then we have no pressure, So and that, to give them credit for it. We did our work, but maybe we overworked it. So, they're good. They like to run the football just like we do. Defensively, they've got great pursuit and athletes on the field. So we're going to have to use our tough, hard-nosed, stubborn type of mentality, to pull us through this one.
And ball control offense has got to be a key for you guys, is keep their offense off the field.
I think always, I think if we can do what we tend to like to do, then that certainly goes in our favor. And so hopefully we can get on top and we can play with a lead. But that remains to be seen too, and I'm sure they like the same. They like to kind of get up on top of people too. So they like the big play with over the top. They got some kids that can really stretch the field, and we got to make sure we stay over the top of them.
Turnovers, as always, they are key in football games, and it's no different this weekend.
It's going to come back to what you and I always talk about. It's sometimes it's not that you win games, but you lose them. So we don't want the turnovers, we don't want the penalties, and if we can stay in a good stay ahead of the change, so to speak, offensively, then that's where we want to be. So hopefully our kids are going to be focused this week. I know, you don't always know how that's going to affect their psyche
Right.
and all this other stuff. But we've had a great week of practice. We've had a chance to even just sit down as a team and talk and air some frustrations and some things like that, which sometimes I think is a good thing to clear the air on some stuff and that we can move forward. And I still love my team. You know, they're a great group of young men, and it's, you know, so much a privilege to be working with them right now.
And we're going to be honoring seniors
Yep.
on Friday night because the
Yep.
final home game, so senior night too. And what a group. They've seen it all in 4 or 5 years.
You know, you asked when you're talking to Broden about some things I remember defensively. One of the things that stuck out to me, and I think I've said this to you before, is the experience that senior group has. You know, Broden's been starting for 2 years already, you know, and Gavin, same thing, and Aiden, same thing. Will's been starting for a couple years. So they've got a lot of experience, and they've seen a lot of things. They've put a lot of energy into our program, into their teammates, and, you know, just seeing them develop and mature as men. I hope mom and dad see some of that maturity coming out, because I'm seeing guys grow up in front of me and doing things they've never done before that are helping our team. So, you know, my hat's off to those guys.
And fans are seeing it. I mean, I talk to people, just me personally, watching these guys. I've been around now. They were 7th graders when I moved to town. So now I've been able to see how they've progressed as athletes and as individuals over the last 5 years. Has been fun.
You know, there's something about small town Valley City. You know, you get to know these young people, especially in my job as a teacher. You know, you see them as 7th graders, and I get to sit and watch them develop in front of my eyes for 6 years through that process, and assist and help, you know, as much as I can. And you know, it's a special calling, I think, that we have, and it's really neat opportunity for me and the rest of our coaching staff as well.
Well, like I said to Broden, the most important game is the most important game is the next one. That's Friday night. We'll worry about next week after. We'll worry about that Saturday morning.
Yep.
And Fargo South coming to town, 7 o'clock kickoff. Of course, you can hear it and see it right here on the Highland Activity Network. Final question: are the kids just geared up, ready to get back on the field and get after it again?
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah,
you know?
You can't. Yeah.
You know, and it's sometimes it's. I talked to him about this after practice today. You know, right now there's a lot of teams that are getting ready for another season, a different sport. And a lot of years, our kids are in that boat at this point, thinking about hockey or basketball or wrestling. I said, I need you guys to leave that where it belongs. You know, we need to focus on the stuff that we have right now. You have a special opportunity a lot of guys haven't had, and you have it. Don't take it for granted. Those sports will be there when it's time for you to be there. And hopefully we'll embrace the time that we have left together.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate it. Looking forward to Friday night. Going to be a beautiful night. Any night that you can play football is a beautiful night, regardless of what the weather is. I don't care about the rain.
Yeah.
But again, thanks very much. Good luck here Friday night.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet, Coach. Coach Scott Roark joining us from the Highlander football team. We'll be back here with more Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.
came to dance.
Here on the Highlander Activity Network, live here on YouTube, Coach's Corner, as we get ready to wrap up the show this week. And again, just a reminder, what's coming up on the Highlander Activity Network tomorrow night. We talk about it with that band concert that's going to begin at 8 o'clock tomorrow here at the Hack with the Red River Valley Veterans Community Band. And the Highlanders 11th and 12th graders will start the concert at 8 with a couple of pieces, and then the band will come in and follow, and then the two will get together. 90 musicians will be on the stage for the big finale, and that again is coming up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And of course, Friday night football from Hannah Field, 7 o'clock, live on YouTube, as the Fargo South Bruins coming in. I didn't want to mention it with Broden, their coach, but of course they are still the number one team in the QRF, which is how they base the seedings, but they did drop the number 2 in the media poll, but that's all right. It's what happens at the end of the year that is the most important. So the 7-1 Highlanders taking on the 5-3 Bruins. Again, Friday night, 7 o'clock, right here live on YouTube on the Highlander Activity Network. Next week, we're going to have a lot. It's going to be a great show next week. We'll be talking football, both varsity, junior varsity, and Thunder football next week. We'll be talking state tennis. It's been a while, but we've finally got our schedule together with Coach Matt Nielsen, along with Kai Kringley and Trey Cope. They'll be on the show next week. We'll be talking volleyball as they're going to be getting close to the end of the season and getting ready for the EDC tournament with Coach Rebecca Erickson. That'll be coming up next week. And, of course, we'll be probably pretty good chance we'll be talking cross-country with Coach Deb Bilke as the cross-country state meet this weekend on Saturday. The boys will go at 2, the girls at 2:45. That'll be at Parkhurst, the Parkhurst Recreation Area in Jamestown, as the Highlanders will be in the state cross-country meet. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Of course, I want to thank our guests tonight, Rebecca Elliott, Broden Muskie, and Scott Roark, for joining us. And, of course, you, as usual, our listeners, our followers, our viewers, as you watch this live, we do appreciate you joining us each and every Wednesday. And, of course, Essentia Health, the Valley City Booster Club, and Dickey Rural Network, our sponsors. We also want to thank them for all of their help. And, of course, tonight, Jaden Johnson on camera and technical advisor Derek Bear joining us here live tonight. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Coach's Corner here from the Hack, right here on the Highland Activity Network.